Sagittarius, today is day 14 of Tapping into Miracles and Magic, which is a tarot series that I have centered around the magician. And today, Sagittarius, the magician wants you to hear that clarity will come whenever you surrender your thoughts and ideas about how things are supposed to be done. Okay. The magician wants to remind you, Sagittarius, that your soul is carrying the blueprint. Your ego has been in charge for quite a while now, and you've experienced some frustration, some stagnation, some confusion. And the magician is saying that that is the case, Sagittarius, because you have not yet surrendered to the will of your soul. And once you do, that's when the clarity will come through. Okay. The magician is saying that you're not confused because you don't have the answers, Sagittarius. You're confused because you won't decide which aspect of yourself it is that you're going to submit and listen to, right? Your ego has been in charge for quite a long time, and it's felt like, no matter what direction you turn, it's felt like the wrong direction. And it's not because there's not a right direction. It's only because you've been going back and forth between listening to your soul and wanting to do what the ego wants you to do, right? And the first card that we have coming through to clarify the magician's message today is the Two of Swords. Okay, and the magician is acknowledging through the Two of Swords that you are currently at war with yourself, Sagittarius, or you have been at war with yourself. And the magician is saying, Sagittarius, because you are finally deciding to surrender to your soul, this inner conflict is coming to an end, right? You're finally allowing your heart to choose for you. You're finally allowing your soul to decide for you. And because you are surrendering to the will of your soul, and because you are finally allowing or admitting that your soul's way is much greater than your ego's way, that inner conflict is coming to an end. That confusion is clearing out. The stagnation is turning into movement, okay? You are no longer being led by logic now that you are following and surrendering to the will of your soul, okay? And also through the Two of Swords, the magician wants you to hear that this is the moment on the timeline, Sagittarius, where you decide surrender or continue to struggle. Stand firm on your awareness or remain stagnant. So, those are the choices that you're being met with right now, Sagittarius. Surrender or continue to struggle. Stand firm on your awareness or remain stagnant, right? Because listen, something that I always say is that healing is in the awareness. And I've said that a lot. I've said that a lot to clients that I've worked with. I've said it a lot. But something that I have learned over the last few months is that yes, healing is in the awareness, but living is in the integration, Sagittarius. And this is the moment on the timeline where you are being called to integrate the wisdom that you have received. This is the moment on the timeline where you're being called to integrate the knowledge that lives deep within your soul that you have become aware of. Because we can be aware and choose to move forward, or we can be aware and remain stagnant because there's no going back. There's only remaining stagnant. There's only remaining stagnant. And then the frustration grows deeper and deeper because it feels like or seems like we're not moving. And there is movement occurring, there is movement taking place, but we might not be experiencing that movement, not because it's not happening. Okay, the universe, God is always orchestrating on our behalf, is always creating movement on our behalf. But we may not be walking in sync with that movement because, again, we're tiptoeing, teeter-tottering back and forth between ego and soul. All right, so this is the moment on the timeline where you have to decide. The next card that we have coming through to clarify the magician's message is the Two of Coins. Okay. And through the Two of Coins, Sagittarius, the magician is saying you have been hanging on by a thread. And the reason why you've been hanging on by a thread is because you've been telling yourself you can do it all. You can be here, you can be there, and you can be everywhere. Okay. But in at But this is the moment on the timeline, Sagittarius, where you have to, again, you have to decide. There are choices that you're being met with, and you have to decide, right? You can no longer have one foot in and one foot out the door. Okay, that is what is causing you to lose your balance and experience instability. It's not because of the things that are happening in the external world. It's not because of the things that you're telling yourself that are not working out. It's because you haven't decided yet, Sagittarius. It's because you still have one foot in and one foot out, right? You're trying to still be in this over here while knowing that you need to shift to this over here because this is where your soul is calling you to, but you're still trying to hang on. You're trying to be here, there, and everywhere. But Sagittarius, you can't be here, there, and everywhere. You can only be where your soul, if you want to live a soul satisfying and fulfilling life, you can only be where your soul is guiding you to be. Okay? So, Sagittarius, through the Two of Coins, the magician is asking you, what do you really desire? What do you really desire? The question is not what fantasy have you been pushing yourself to fulfill, but what do you really desire? What does your soul want for you? Okay, what is God's intention for your life? So that this means, Sagittarius, that you really need to, in day 13, we talked about coming back to the practice of stillness. Okay, this is why that's important. So you can really connect with what it is that your soul wants for you. So that you can really go into the stillness and not talk. You're not praying, you're not talking, you're stepping into the stillness, Sagittarius, so that you can listen. You might be going in with the question, what does my soul want for me? What is God's intention for my life? You may be going into the silence with those questions, but that's it. And you're going into the silence, you're going into the stillness so that you can hear, so that you can listen, so that you can receive. All right. What does your soul want for you? What is God's intention for you? Because when you make that connection, Sagittarius, and you start walking in that direction, you'll experience a greater sense of balance in both your inner and outer world. And that's what you want, right? You don't want to experience this iffiness, right? He's holding on, barely holding on to those coins. He's going under. And the coins, the stability is going to go under with him. And that's kind of what you're experiencing right now, Sagittarius, is a loss of stability because you're not deciding. But this is the moment on the timeline where you do. All right. And the last card that we have coming through to clarify the magician's message today is the Four of Coins. Okay. And the question that's coming through with this card is what would you do? Where would you go? Who would you allow yourself to be, Sagittarius, if you weren't worrying about your needs being met? Okay, it almost goes back to to the day one message where we could ask it like, what would you do? Where would you go? Who would you allow yourself to be if you weren't so focused on trying to keep things afloat? Right. And then also through the Four of Coins, the magician is acknowledging or just speaking to the fact, Sagittarius, that you've lost your spark. You've lost touch with the ideas and the heart-centered desires that once sparked joy within you. Okay. And this is why you feel confused. This is why you are experiencing the stagnation because you're trying to push things, Sagittarius. You're trying to push experiences and you're just trying to push things that don't even align with your heart, that don't even speak to your heart, Sagittarius. And this is why you're experiencing the stagnation, right? You're keeping yourself in places that don't even align with your heart. And because you're not acknowledging that your heart, your soul wants something different for you, because you're not allowing yourself to believe that it's possible for this new reality to unfold for you. That's where the frustration is coming in, all right? You're not experiencing the frustration again because there isn't any movement. You're experiencing the frustration and the stagnation because you allowed yourself to lose hope, Sagittarius. So the magician is saying to you today, listen, the clarity will come whenever you surrender your thoughts and ideas about how things are supposed to be, right? The clarity will come whenever you remember that your soul is carrying the blueprint. The clarity will come when you allow yourself to decide, to surrender, when you allow yourself to stand firm on your awareness. So that is the message for day 14 of Tapping into Miracles and Magic, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for being here with me. I do appreciate your presence. I do want to invite you to join me for the Archer's Reiki Circle, which is a weekly Reiki meditation that I host specifically for the Sagittarius community every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. You can send me a message and I will send you the information for how to sign up for that. You can also send me a message if you want to have your own reading. If you want to receive your own reading, you can send me a message for that and I'll send you the link so that you can book your appointment. Okay. I love you so very much.